Hello everyone, Sunstrider here, and in today's video, we are going to talk about going back to Genshin Impact after spending some time on Tower of Fantasy. I had a love-hate relationship with this game and tried to quit the game for good in patch 2.4 and came back after Inazuma to find myself get bored and stuck with its daily artifacts or boss farming. Limited resources to level up my artifacts, dated team composition, and nothing to do once I ran out of energy. Now, as Genshin Impact has an indirect competitor, I think I realized the biggest factor why I quit, and that is the fact that the difficulty to progress if you are a free-to-play player. Imagine yourself this way. As a free-to-play player, you will rely on treasure boxes that you found, daily commission reward, and maintenance compensation as your main source of Primogem. You can also get Primogem when you level up the Archon status, and that's going to take a while, or first time clear reward from the Abyss, both methods that take a lot of time and investments. On top of that, I got the feeling of a loophole where you need a specific element to gain advantage in a certain dungeon, and in order for you to do that, you'll need a good character, and for you to get a good character, you'll need a Primogem to pull one. With Sumeru or patch 3.0 available, I couldn't resist going back. My biggest problem was I left in the middle of Inazuma and didn't know how far along it would take for me until I could reach Sumeru. Fortunately, after a quick main story quest, I got to the point where I had to face Signora, and as a returning player, this fight was a hell that I had to climb out for. As a Ganyu main with the rest of my team on level 70 and standard artifacts, the initial fight was really a struggle for me because compared to Tower of Fantasy, there's no weather element that we should consider for, and I struggle in between dealing damage, trying to keep the balance down, and avoiding her attack. On top of that, I'm still trying to get used to the control and mechanic where there's no dodge or evade that will slow the enemy down.
We don't do that here.
I didn't expect to win the first fight because it was a new boss with an attack pattern and mechanic that I didn't understand yet.
72 hours later.
But again, if we are going to talk about the boss fight between these two games, at the moment, I'm going to give kudos to Hoyo first for developing a good and engaging boss fight. Now that I've defeated Signora after a long internal hesitation because of how resources reliant developing a hero is, I could remember every single detail of my fight with this boss and how thrilled and tense I was back then. Dying hero, depleting resources, and damage management was all that's happening back then. I think my previous point is what we've been looking for in an RPG game, right?
Yes.
And what a game should have been. Bringing joy and excitement to the people. Like any other games, resources is one crucial aspect in Genshin Impact, and until today, it's still very limited by looking at how resin were given. As a returning free-to-play player who probably has an okay amount of resources, building a new character is a challenging thing to do, especially if you're left behind and need to progress the story as quickly as possible. Building a new character also means that you'll have to prioritize between defeating the hypostasis, boss for talent up, or clearing domain with a very limited resources. The more I play this game, the more I'm starting to realize that this game revolves around elemental reactions, equipment, artifacts, and characters. In a good way, that's the only thing that you have to focus on in order for you to progress toward the game.
Stop the cap!
Yes, as a free-to-play player, it might be difficult for you to get that OP 5-star character, but the good news is, that's not the end of the day. Because like me, after I finished my Signora with my dated team comp, I'm starting to believe that as long as you focus on the character that you're playing, and that should be it. The only workaround that you'll have to do is just to maximize the other game feature, which is food. The next small feature that unconsciously makes playing Genshin Impact enjoyable for hours is the music. From Mondstadt to Liyue, listening to this soundtrack brings memory of when I first discovered the game. It was 2021 when I got a full-time job after being laid off by a company due to COVID. I downloaded the game and had fun after work only exploring Mondstadt back then. The characters are amazing and the game offers something new to the community. Everything is so nostalgic, and when combined with the visual and mechanic, it does bring a long-lost excitement. Now, this is something that Tower of Fantasy couldn't do at the moment. Yes, their gacha system might win the favor over free-to-play players, but if your keen gamer would like to have a bit of everything, good stories, good music, and good game mechanics, Genshin Impact will easily win everyone's favor. In conclusion, going back to Genshin Impact after accepting the fact that there will always be a limitation on how fast you can progress as a free-to-play player does change your perspective of the game. On top of that, now that this game has a potentially one of its main competitors, we get to see, compare, and even appreciate what the game provides to us.
Born of ice and frost.
The combat was fun and original as they are the one who set the bar for the genre. Music and the overall game experience is a top-notch as it brings a sense of ecosystem instead of being a pixel and there just to fill the map. Well, what do you guys think? Do you agree with the video? Comment below and let's discuss. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to support the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, or dislike the video if you don't think what I said makes sense, and see you on the other video.
By royal decree.